Hey guys, welcome to the ROSELYN OMAKA Show. I'm your host, ROSELYN, and I wanted to bring you guys into a little bit of my world. Every single day, I meet so many different people from all walks of life. I don't care if you're a homeless person on the corner or if you're the CEO of a major corporation. Every day, I'm learning all the different things I did not learn in school. I'm inspired and I'm motivated. And I feel like you guys should be able to see this too. There's so much negative nonsense going on all the time, all around us. And I wanted to bring a little bit of joy and plant some seeds of positivity. So sit back, enjoy, relax, have a good time. All right, guys, we're here for another class, I want to say, at the ROSELYN OMAKA Show with my bro, Tony Hills, the tycoon, all about money, all about finance. And listen, if you want to make the step to change your life in the right direction and you don't know where to go, Tony is your guy. He's ready to drop some game.
Hey, man, I just appreciate you having me first and foremost, you know what I'm saying? I love my girl, H-Town in the building. No, listen, we're going to get into some things, man. What you want to talk about? What do the people need to know?
What do the people need to know?
Yeah.
So I definitely want to say that I think it's really important when we think about the average American and the average income and family and people that are just in this time right now struggling to try to make ends meet. And the average American right now, many people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Correct.
And they're thinking about their retirement, but they don't necessarily know, how do I start? Where do I begin? Should I put money in a savings account?
Correct.
They don't really know. And we know savings isn't really helping much.
Correct.
And we hear that these rich people, they don't pay the taxes and they're escaping this top 1%. How do we be like the top 1%?
So that's a great question. I think the first thing is we have to understand the education aspect, right? Like, you have to sacrifice. And what I mean by sacrifice is we have to remove the things that don't make us wealthy. And what I mean by that is not just from a financial standpoint, but I mean wealth is health, right? Wealth is a mentality. So what characteristics or characteristic flaws do we identify within ourselves first when it comes to money? What is our relationship with money? Right, because we can get into the statistics. You have 67 to 70% or so people that live paycheck to paycheck. We can go into the credit aspect when we talk about over leveraging and how the credit card companies use something called compound interest to be able to keep you in debt if you don't know how to leverage your credit right. There's a multitude of things. I think the thing we have to do is we have to learn the system, right? Wealthy people know the system. So I was talking to a friend of mine. Shout out to Tashira out in Cali. And, she's getting into the wealth cycle, and she's a client as well. And so she bought the IRS tax book. And
She bought the book.
She bought the book, right? And I told her before, I said, you do realize that the majority of that book is about how to avoid taxes. She's like, no way. That's what prompted her to buy it. She then calls me the next day and says, you're not going to effing believe this. It's only 30 pages talking about how to pay taxes. The rest of this book is about how to avoid it. That's right. So now we have to start to understand IRS codes. For instance, IRS code 643B deals with tax avoidance. Now, evading taxes is actually illegal. They get you locked up. But they actually encourage you to avoid the taxes, right? So then what are the vehicles that allow us to do this? That's when we have to start going on that search, right? So I think the first thing is let's remove the things that don't allow us to be wealthy, right? So if your mentality is not wealthy, then you're not going to be wealthy.
How do you get that mentality?
Oh, I love it. So first you have to decide. That's just what I'm saying. It's a sacrifice. You got to do a lot of things. We talk about this and we believe this here at Stat Financial. And first of all, welcome to the headquarters of Stat Financial out here in Plano, Texas.
That is true, yes.
Yes, I know this is you guys' first time here, so I came to y'all have come to me. So, but yeah, the first thing is that we have to understand that the sacrifice that has to be made is let's start to save, right? And saving is hard. It's really hard. And a lot of people, like when we talk about the disproportionate and the economic downturns that have taken place in America, it's really hard. But those are the things that we talk about. Like, listen, maybe we can't get the Christmas gifts. Maybe we can't do the birthday gifts. These are certain things that our money, like how is our money flowing, right? That's the first way we're going to figure out how to start to create this wealth cycle. Understand money. How does it flow? What are we saving? Where are we losing it at, right? I can tell you right now, one of the top ways to lose money is in subscriptions. Yeah. Right? How many of us have put our credit card on a subscription and we don't even use that service anymore, right? Exactly.
But I just canceled. I canceled like a whole bunch of subscriptions.
Yeah. And they have certain like software systems and things out there for free that you can go. So that's one tip. If you want to know how to start wealth, start canceling those subscriptions that you don't need, because everything's on YouTube, right? Everything's on YouTube. If we're looking at it from a small business standpoint, there's so many things that's free. I'll give you the game on something for my business owners, my small business owners. Listen, go to Blink.
Oh, yeah.
Right? BLINQ. Go to Blink. Get your virtual card. It's free, right? Listen, I know Vista Prince is going to hate me now, right? But go to Blink, get your virtual card, man, and then start giving out that link or using that QR code. It's going to do a couple of things. One, people are going to offer you their phone.
I think I have it on my phone, actually.
Correct. Yeah. It's an easier way to get get information. That's it.
I have it, y'all. See?
She's doing well. So like you're going to and Blink, y'all owe me for this one. But what happens is you're like, a lot of times people, how many times have we gotten a card and we didn't even look at it? It's like, oh, thank you. And we just keep talking. And then you look for the card and you can't find it, right? So now you've just wasted money on that end. The second thing is that I want that physical hand interaction, right? So like, for instance, let me see your phone. Like you have Blink, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's right.
So I'm like, hey, here's my information. So you hand your phone out. What do you look at that? I didn't even have to ask you. You naturally just took it.
Yes, I want to take it.
Correct. So now we can exchange information, right? So I'm just using that. That's a little segment for the small business owners. But to stay on topic, right? Because I'll go, right? To stay on topic, the first thing is we have to go to school. We have to go get the financial education. We're not going to be taught in schools. We know that, right? Because you have to think about what the school system was designed for. When Rockefeller donated all of this money for the school system back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s, it was specifically to create good workers. So now you look at the school system today, right? You go to school, you learn particular topics that don't pertain to anything that's really going on in the real world, right? It's all outdated information for the most part, right? A little segment here. There's a joke that says if Benjamin Franklin came back in 2022, he wouldn't recognize anything but the school system, right? So that should show you how much it hasn't been changed. But then you go to college, 4 years. What do you learn? You learn about particular job sources that are out there, but then once you graduate, how long did you stay in there? 4 years. So now the information is 4 years old.
And so many people go to school for 4 years and they're not even doing anything what they went to school for. They're actually, some people are doing worse and some people are doing better.
Listen, I joke and I say that I'm probably one of the only ones that actually use my degree because I went to school for learning and applied development, right? So I went to school to learn how to learn, right? Because I was like, I don't know how to learn. I'm gonna go learn how to learn, right?
Did my school offer that?
and so the beautiful thing is that we live in an information age, right? So being a wealth consultant or a wealth strategist is what I like to coin myself. Now, it involves a certain amount of study, right? So I'm gonna keep going back to that because it's important. We need to get the education.
Man, I haven't seen everybody all together since Friendsgiving 2019. I've got to go this year. And I like staying somewhere nice, but I sure ain't paying full price. I'm using the Elite Pass from Belonlay. Yeah, it's definitely better than anything I see here. Let's do this.
Guys, there's so many free things out there, like Whiteboard by Marco is a good one. If you want to learn about the stock market, like what is a bear market? What is a bull market? What is compound interest, right? What are taxes? Like a lot of people don't even know taxes are actually illegal.
Yeah.
Right? So, and hey, listen, personal testimony here. We talk about taxes. So if they don't know my background, I played professional sports for almost 10 years, right? Well, in 2016, the IRS decided that I owed them back taxes, right? And so they went all the way back. This just happened 2 weeks ago. They went all the way back, said, "Oh, you owe us back taxes." I said, "The hell that I do." And this is the power of the IRS. They levied my bank account for over $100,000. They said I owed them over $100,000.
The devil is a lie.
He is, because I went in, pulled all the information, shot it to them, and then a week later they lifted the levy and gave me my money back. But listen, why am I giving you guys this?
Yeah.
Because there are entities that can protect that from happening. I actually have some of them. So even though this particular bank account was levied, I was not broke because of where I placed my money. The government can't get to it, right? And that's what we'll go into a little bit.
Crooks.
Yeah, man, you know, everybody knows that.
I always say when it comes down to all of this money stuff,
Yeah.
you know, pay yourself first.
Yes.
Yourself first.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive into that, right? When we talk about Texas, because we are in the great state of Texas, right? The median income for the middle wage earner is $60,000, right? $60,000. So when we talk about taxes, you're looking at the take home maybe being around anywhere between that $45,000 to $52,000 range, right? So then if inflation is high, right, but the wage is not matching that, then that puts us in a poverty state, right? So now we have to start thinking, this is when the research comes in. How do I create an extra stream of income? And this is the goal. The number is very simple. I need $500.
Okay, so you need $500.
Correct.
What do you
Extra
a month?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Why do I say $500? Let's think about it. If you start a small business, the very first thing of that small business, for instance, if you have like MLM companies, right, multi-level marketing companies, right, they have and people have their thoughts about it, but I look at it from, first of all, it's a tax benefit because you're going to run it out of your house. Yeah. So now you're lowering your taxes. Secondly, just by being able to earn that income from there, you're adding more income to the bottom line, right? And then the third thing is not only are you able to leverage adding more income to the bottom line, now this money that you earn, you can actually start to portion that out for a saving strategy plan. Because we know the principal is just enough to take care of, right? Or the money that you make on your job is just enough to take care of the expenses of the house, right? So we're talking about after the car note, after the insurance, after paying for the kids and yourself and clothes and things of that nature. Any type of hospital visits or daycare, any of that. You've covered all that and then what happens is at the end of the day, you don't have any money left over. By adding this extra source of income, which is a necessity now, it is no longer a situation to where we can think about it. This has to be done, right? And I use this example. If you look at a table, or we look at these chairs, these chairs have 4 legs, right? If you were to remove any one of these legs, the chair would wobble, right? But if you were to move 3 of these legs or all of these legs, the chair would not stand. And so a lot of us are living off of one income, not able to stand because we're getting hit for so many different ways, right?
Everything.
Exactly. So we have the credit card debt phenomenon. We have inflation. Gas prices are ridiculous. The cost of eggs are ridiculous, right? And then we have tax.
I love my eggs.
I love eggs.
Y'all, I'm telling you now, for me, when I noticed inflation, it wasn't gas prices. I love my eggs. That is when I knew we had a problem.
Exactly. Because the chickens didn't get paid. I'm just saying, the chickens didn't get paid when they elevated the prices, right? It's free labor. You know what I mean? So now we have to look at what are the small things that we can do to elevate that income. And then this is another thing, when we talk about the wealthy, not only do they know what to do, but they know how to do it, right? So like now we get into the strategy aspect, right? So I'll give you an example. We're gonna go to the whiteboard. It's a whiteboard finance, right? So let's say we have small investors, right? I'm going to show you how you could use a cash value. Now we're getting into the wealth strategy, one of the wealth strategies. a cash value insurance policy to be able to double dip into the gains of these investments. So say you had $100, right? Well, first of all, just by having this insurance policy here, we put $100 in there. You got the UCI, right? This stands for uninterrupted compounded interest. And guys, let me make this very simple. All compounded interest is in year one, they gave you 7%. On top of that, so your principal changed. So if you had $100, you now have 107. But instead of them just giving you 107 the next year, now this $100 turns into $107 and they give you more interest on top of that. And so it continues to grow and it never stops. That's the uninterrupted aspect.
The eighth wonder of the world.
The eighth wonder. Shout out to Benjamin Franklin, right? And so now your money is continuing to grow in a place that's the most protected the most protected wealth cycle in the world, which is insurance companies. There has been maybe 2 insurance companies that have failed in hundreds of years. There's been thousands of banks. Do your research on that, right? So here, we got the uninterrupted compounded interest. So now you guys understand some lingo, because I know they try to make finance seem very boring. They try to make it seem complicated, and it's really not.
It's on purpose that they do that.
Thank you. You already took the words right out of my mouth. You guys have to understand how important this is. So now your principal, meaning the money that you put into this entity, it's safe, it's protected, because the insurance company is now going to give you their money in exchange for yours, right? And you would say, why would they do that? Because they're a company, they're a business, they want to invest. So they're going to give you what you put to them, and they're going to go make compounded interest on your money, but then they're going to pay you a percentage of what they make, right? The next thing is, what I like to call it is the Legacy Estate Fund, LEF, right? You guys will know it as the death benefit. Many people, this is where wealthy people really are winning. They understand one thing. At some point, I'm going to expire on this earth. How do I give as much money to my seed, to my heirs as possible without giving it to the government? Well, this is tax-free. The death benefit is tax-free, so the government cannot do anything with that money. There are no taxes. Hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars are passed down to your family, right? And then the last thing is, we're talking about OPM, using other people's money, right? So now, here's the example. You put $100 in this and you get all of this stuff from the insurance company, right? You're an investor. You then go and pay $50 for your investment, okay? So now what has happened is you borrowed from the policy $50. Your money never left. You borrowed the insurance money. Now you go use the insurance money to get this investment. You've just mitigated the risk. Because if this investment fails, because there's risk in investments, then you lose the insurance money. You don't lose your money. Your money continues to earn uninterrupted compounded interest. Now, let's say you sold that same investment, you went and rehabbed it and flipped it, you sold it for $80, right? There is a $30 win, right? 50, you sold it for 80, minus 50 gives you $30. This $30 now can now go back into your policy, where it would then earn uninterrupted compounded interest for the rest of your life. And then you just rinse, wash, and repeat. This is what I'm teaching a lot of my investors to do, and they love it. Because now it's like, okay, I don't know what the market is doing. We're in a bear market. We are in a recession. Gross domestic product has dropped more than 2 cycles, right? And so now they're like, I don't want to put my money in the market, or I don't want to put my money in the market, and I'm really just not really understanding what's going on in the real estate market right now with inflation. Like, the prices are very high. We know this is what goes up has to come back down. This is the safest place, right?
Super safe, because it's one thing where you want to take risk and you want to put your money into the market. However, the market is very volatile, which means that it fluctuates up and down.
Correct.
It can be very erratic, and if you're not emotionally able to handle it, that could be a problem. This is a very safe alternative.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, guys, I want to make this as simple as possible, right? We talked about this before. The 401k, any tax qualified plan. Any tax qualified plan that you have, and so I'll give you some examples. So you have a 401k, you have the IRA, the IRA accounts, right? You have the 403bs, right? So these are all different government savings vehicles. Guys, all of that stuff is tied into the market. So that means that if the market's up, yeah, we're going to gain a lot of interest on that. We're going to get a return. But when the market dips, you are now attached to that dip. So like in 2008, especially when we're talking about the senior market, those were the ones that felt it the most.
Felt it.
Right? 50% of their retirement wiped out.
I would cry.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's other worse things happening, but yeah.
Yeah. Like we have people that are still alive today that felt that. I've talked to them. 50% of their income was wiped out, right?